Hi there, I'm Math Mom, and today we're going to be talking about
fractions.
Good! Now, what's the definition that I've got on the board?
Fractions are not whole numbers.
Oh, great. They're not whole numbers, they are parts of numbers. Now, anything can be made into a fraction, anything can be divided into parts. And we represent those parts by using fractions.
Can a fraction be turned into a fraction?
Yeah, a fraction can be made into a smaller fraction. Of course, a fraction is a thing. It can be made into smaller things. That's a great question, honey. Okay, now, for example, okay, fractions are not whole numbers. So if we need 2½ cups of flour to make our chocolate cake recipe, here we have a
whole number.
And we've also got
fraction.
A fraction. So a fraction looks like this. A fraction has a numerator and a denominator. This is our whole number here. This is our fraction. And we use fractions all the time when we're talking. Honey, what's your favorite show on TV? Rick Mercer?
Sure.
Okay. We already talked about this in the other video. And how long is that program?
30 minutes.
How else do we say 30 minutes?
Half an hour.
Half an hour. It's an hour that has been divided. The hour is the thing. It's been divided into two parts. Your show, your favorite show, is half an hour. Okay, so a fraction has a numerator and a denominator. That's the way we write fractions. What's the denominator? What's our definition of the denominator?
Total number of parts.
Okay, so if
what's your whole?
All the parts that you need to put back together to get that one whole thing. Okay? If we have, say the whole thing that we're going to divide is an hour, and we divide that hour, 1 hour, into minutes, into how many minutes? 1 hour is divided into how many minutes in an hour?
60 minutes.
60 minutes. How many minutes do we need to make our one whole hour?
60.
So what would the denominator be if we're talking about hours in terms of fractions of minutes?
60.
The denominator would be 60. That would be our number. That looks like 66, but that's correct. The denominator would be 60. So what I did is grabbed a loaf of bread from the fridge. Here we have our loaf of bread, and we already counted the number of slices. How many slices are in this loaf of bread?
15.
Okay, so if we're going to talk about our loaf of bread in terms of fractions, what's the denominator that we need for our fractions?
15.
The denominator is 15. Okay, because our one loaf of bread, our one thing, has been divided into 15 slices, 15 pieces. Now, what's the definition for numerator? What does
number
it say?
of parts that you have.
Okay, so of that thing, we know we've got the total number of parts that we need to put that thing back together. Okay, we need all 60 minutes to make our 1 hour. We need all 15 slices of bread to make our one loaf of bread. But the numerator is the number of parts that you actually have. So say you're going to make 2 sandwiches. How many slices of bread do you need to make 2 sandwiches? One for you and one for you. How many slices of bread do you need?
4.
Okay, so from the loaf of bread, you need 4 slices. So what's the numerator? What's the numerator? How many parts of that loaf of bread do you need to make your sandwich?
4.
So the numerator is?
4.
Good. Do you understand why? You've used, the numerator is the number of items of that thing that you're actually using. Okay, you're going to make 2 sandwiches, so you need 4 slices of bread. Out of the 15 slices that make up the loaf, you've used 4. Okay? What if you're going to make, okay, what if our one loaf of bread is cut into, say, you know the bread that Daddy gets from the store and it's just one loaf, okay? Say it's cut in half into 2 pieces. One loaf of bread cut into 2 pieces. What's the denominator now?
2.
Oh, good. Well, that was too loud. Anyway, so the denominator is 2, and you're going to eat the whole loaf of bread. You're starving, you're going to eat the whole loaf of bread. What's the numerator?
1.
No, you're eating the whole thing, honey.
15.
You haven't been paying attention because you were crawling around on the floor. What's the numerator? If you're going to eat the whole loaf of bread, you're going to eat this piece and that piece you're eating, you're going to use the parts that you take as the whole thing. What's your numerator?
2.
Yeah, did you only say that because I wrote it down?
Yes.
Okay. That's not going very well. What's another thing that we can use as an example of a fraction?
Pie!
Oh, yeah, that would be good, but I'm not good at drawing a pie. We could do our little pie plate, our nice little pie plate, like this, with the lines on it. That looks like a canoe. Oh dear. Okay, now, this is our pie. Use your imagination. How many people have come over for dinner? How many slices do we need to...
10! 10 people came over.
Okay, so there's 10 people. 10 people. And we're going to cut our pie into 10 pieces. What's the denominator?
10.
Why?
Because that's the total amount of people.
Exactly. The one pie is going to be cut into 10 equal slices so that everybody has the same amount. I don't know if I can do this without screwing it up. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I want this one. Okay. Good. Now, say that instead of 10 people showing up, there were 8 people for dinner, and everybody gets a slice of pie. What fraction of the pie has been eaten? 8? There are 8? Yeah.
8.
Out of the 10 slices, 8 pieces of the pie have been eaten. How many pieces are left over, honey?
2.
Okay. 2 are left over, and what's the denominator?
10.
Yeah. And if we have, if we have the pieces of pie that have been eaten, and we add the pieces of pie that are left over, we get back to having the whole pie again, right?
So it's 8 plus 2.
Yeah. And that gives us the whole pie. If the pie has been divided into 10 pieces, we need all 10 pieces back to make up the whole again. Okay? Are you confused? I hope not.
No, you're not confused.
Good, I'm glad. Okay, so today was just another introduction to the concept of fractions, and in our upcoming videos we'll be doing equations where we add and subtract fractions, so stay tuned and thanks for watching.